Welcome to week 9 of the NFL season. This is the Smart Gamble. I'm Norm, joined by Lily and CJ, and a special guest. We mentioned last week, we're all in the family. Angie's joining us. What's going on, guys?
My baby girl.
Angie.
How are you guys?
We're doing well. Glad. Hey, this is first official guest of the podcast.
Yes. So I have to tell you that Angie just joined my and CJ's pool for the first year, and she's doing pretty well for someone who doesn't know a lot about football. She's like in 52nd place out of 200 people.
Hey, I've had people join my pool who pick their picks based on where they would rather vacation, prettiest helmet, and by the way, they do win. So nothing wrong with that.
I was gonna say I've got a coworker and others for more March Madness brackets and stuff like that. They pick, which has got the better mascot, which mascot would win on a fight, something like that. So
hey, whatever works.
Whatever works, exactly. So the four of us, we're gonna jump into week 9. This is probably releasing a little earlier than it usually does if you've been following the first few weeks, because we're recording it a little earlier, and we've got two. I'm not sure your football affiliation, but if the apple doesn't fall apart from the tree, maybe 3 Jets fans here while the Jets are playing right now on Thursday Night Football. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that game while we record the show. But speaking of making picks and whatnot, whether you know it or not, I'm pretty sure Lily knows her football because we'll be getting to her lock of the week later, and she does not miss.
She's been killing it.
Yep.
Winners outright taking dogs, and they're winning outright. So we'll jump into all that because you had New Orleans last week was the pick again. That's why you got to be tuning in every week here and then asking her for more picks.
She's the best.
And that's how we do it. But it's been an eventful week in the NFL too. Shall we say?
Man, has it been.
So NFL trade deadline. Did you guys expect more or less trades? We had a couple big ones. I don't know.
Well, I was hoping. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lily.
I was expecting more trades, but there were some big trades done. And you go right ahead, CJ.
Yeah, like you, I was looking for more as well, hoping for more. I think there are a lot of teams out there who had some needs.
Right.
I think that the whole Deshaun Watson thing has been hanging over our heads all year. And
that's the one I thought we'd see.
He's still sitting on the sideline getting paid not to play. So, and the other thing that I was hoping for as well is Odell Beckham. I think Odell Beckham and the Browns are in that let's sleep in separate rooms stage of the marriage.
Where have I seen that before?
So, and he's still there as well. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You heard about his dad doing that 11-minute video, right?
I heard about it.
Talking about how Baker Mayfield is intentionally not passing to him.
I mean, I'm a Giants fan. I've seen this all before.
I'm a Giants fan too.
Oh, so 2 and 2, 2 Giants fans and 2 Jets fans.
Okay, all right. And we've got 3 wins combined between all of us. So
yeah, literally.
But yeah, the whole Odell Beckham saga. So Von Miller getting traded to the Rams, I think that might be a pretty impactful thing. The Rams, they don't care about their draft picks. This is what they seem to do every single year. Melvin Ingram to the Chiefs. The Chiefs kind of added some pieces because even though they beat mine and Angie's Giants this past week, they still don't look good.
No.
They still do not look good. And I guess another local tie is the Eagles traded away Zach Ertz because him and Goddard have been kind of taking each other's spots from the tight ends there. But yeah, I think I'm right there with a lot of you guys. I expected more trades, but we shall see now that it's passed. Now we're in November here in the Poconos. I know, CJ, you probably don't have to deal with this, but Lily and I here in the Poconos, it's November and we can feel that.
Yep.
There's been frost on the ground the past few days.
Absolutely. And it's actually the latest frost ever, like in history.
Latest?
Really?
Yes.
Whew. It feels like it's early to me.
It feels like it's early to me too.
That's what I've been told.
But yeah, it's
because
when
think
it gets
about
cold,
it, Norm.
Say that again.
Think about it, Norm. I mean, it snowed in October.
Yeah, you know what? That's right. There's been Halloweens where it's been snowing.
Yeah,
That's a
true.
good point. That's a good point.
And that, ladies
Um,
and gentlemen, is why I moved west. Because I hate shoveling
Because he used
snow
to live
and
in
driving in it.
Massachusetts.
I live in Massachusetts. I was
Oh.
shoveling snow in feet, not inches up there. So
Yeah,
Oh, no.
not
Right.
anymore.
I don't blame you. I don't
Yeah,
blame
I
you.
don't
But
blame
when
you.
it gets cold, that's when like the football seems to matter a little bit more, doesn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we'll jump into it. We'll get all of our picks. We'll get CJ's picks and stay away games, and got a whole bunch of fun stuff planned for the show. And of course, the highlight is Lily's lock of the week. Getting lucky with Lily. Before we do, I'll try and give some fantasy advice. As we've got the Thursday game kicked off. Not too many fantasy relevant players on the Jets, but Colts, there are a couple players, so we won't be able to talk too much about them. But I'm going to talk about. So we had trades, but we also had like injuries and some COVID outbreaks throughout the league. So it's been a wild week.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
it
the
has.
thing with Aaron Rodgers is probably first in my mind. He claimed that he was immunized. That's the word he used. Didn't use the word vaccinated.
No.
And it turns out that he was trying to pull one over on us a little bit. So, and of course, he got caught with the Rona. And now he's done for 10 days. So interesting
Yeah.
to see what the Packers will do this week.
So likely 2 games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, every game this week is really difficult to pick because of the fact that people are injured and have COVID. It's going to be a really different week from what it normally would have been.
Right. So I'm going to try and help you out there just a little bit because fantasy wise, there's the couple you mentioned Odell Beckham. That's not an injury, but you can't play him now if you want to been playing him. Derrick Henry goes down. He's now out for possibly up to 10 weeks. So that's a huge blow as the leading rusher in the league goes down. Miles Sanders on the Eagles goes down. We had Jameis Winston, who I actually streamed as a quarterback last week in that win. He goes down now with the ACL injury. So there's a lot of stuff to deal with. I think because this is always fun. The waiver wire's got all these backup guys now that are going to be getting the starting role. Who do you take? I think Boston Scott replacing Miles Sanders. Out of that, you got Jordan Howard in there. You have Kenneth Gainwell, who's been there the entire season getting touches. We've seen this before with Philadelphia. Boston Scott is a guy that can produce and has produced in that uniform. Out of all the guys that could be possibly available this week, he'd be my number one guy to try and pick up if you still have a chance to. Out of the injury replacements, the Tennessee situation, if you got to, take a dart and throw it at one of them. But that's almost, I'd rather try and get one of the guys in the Philly organization than instead of the Titans. I don't really. Adrian Peterson is 36 years old. I loved AP when he was playing. He's one of the best running backs of this generation. I just don't see him being productive anymore at this age and not having played. So I would avoid him, and I would avoid McFarland as well. So that whole backfield of Tennessee, if you're desperate, if you had Henry and you got to fill someone, go take a shot there. But I'd rather try and take Boston Scott. And keep an eye on Derek Gore. He's been filling in for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Had the most touches he's had last week. Racked up a touchdown, and I believe it was around 60-something yards. Even if Edwards-Helaire comes back, I think this is a guy that's proven he's worthy of getting touches. And in that offense, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I know they haven't been the best this season, but they like to spread the ball around. So those are guys that I'd try and keep an eye on this week.
How about a guy like who's playing tonight, Nyheim Hines? He's like the third stringer in Indy. He's behind Jonathan Taylor
and Marlon Mack.
And Marlon Mack. I mean, so they have a couple of horses back there. So I wonder if that's something worth to look at.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor has been way better than I thought he would be this season. I know he had a great shine on the last season and really came on at the end of his rookie season. I thought he'd have a little bit of a sophomore slump. I've never been a huge fan of Wisconsin running backs. They always seem to have a lot of tread burned off their tires from running behind those hogs at Wisconsin.
That is true.
He's been a really good player this season, but don't count out Hines. He's the guy that gets involved in the pass game. So yeah, they're playing. And if you guys are watching, it's now 7-7 as it looks like Elijah Moore just found the end zone for the Jets there.
All right,
Thursday Night
JET,
Football.
Jets.
Scored a touchdown in the first quarter. It doesn't happen very often for the Jets.
Not too often.
Go Jets!
But yeah, Nyheim Hines is a guy. I think he's got value for the rest of the season. He's got value for the whole, even next year, if you're a keeper league or something like that.
Excellent.
So, who are your sneaky starts this week?
Sneaky starts. This is when it starts to get tough. It's guys. A lot of the guys I just mentioned might be sneaky. I don't know because they're backups that are kind of sneaking in there. Other sneaky starts I might like this week, just kind of based on matchup and also trade deadline. We know we mentioned it last week. Mark Ingram's no longer in Houston. He's with the Saints. Look at Philip Lindsay. This is a guy that used to be in Denver, one of the better running backs in the league.
True.
Now, again, less guys to take touches away from him in that backfield and a very nice matchup against the Miami Dolphins. I think Philip Lindsay could be a sneaky start this week. And one more, the other kind of weird news we had this week in the NFL affects this one. We had the Henry Ruggs situation with the Raiders.
Yes.
I don't think we need to go too much into that. Of course, ended up killing another person with drunk driving.
Oh, that's awful.
Henry Ruggs is no longer going to be in the NFL. He might not be he's probably going to be behind bars.
Yeah. I think they already kicked him out, actually.
Yes. Yeah. I believe he was cut
him
by the Raiders. So that it almost feels weird sometimes doing this, but it does have fantasy implications. This horrible, tragic situation that could have been completely avoided by an Uber call, I think, as Lily mentioned to me earlier today.
Yes.
Guy's got the money. How do you just not call an Uber? But it does have fantasy implications, especially when the Raiders are playing Angie and I's Giants, who's got a very susceptible defense. And again, also with the COVID outbreak, you've got some guys on the Giants and in that defense, including Xavier McKinney, who are going to be likely inactive due to the protocols, and even more susceptible secondary back there. Look out for Zay Jones. Interesting season last year for Zay Jones. Very up and down, had a lot of hype, a lot of potential. This is the guy that's probably going to be taking a lot of the touches that were going to Henry Ruggs, those kind of deep threat slot receiver touches. Zay Jones might be a guy that anyone even has on their radar that might have ended up putting up double-digit points this week.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So who are some players to avoid this week, Norm?
Couple players to avoid. I'll try and keep these ones quick. I feel like I don't want to bash on this guy too much because now that I just thought about it, I think I've already said this guy once in this segment. And I think he proved me wrong now that I think about it. Ryan Tannehill is a guy that I think I might avoid this week against a very tough Rams defense that just added one of the most prolific pass rushers of this generation. And he just lost his bell cow running back, and now all the pressure is on him. Ryan Tannehill has been having a great season so far this year for the Titans. Lily, you've been backing the Titans a couple times this season already, and they've pulled through.
Right, an outright one.
Mm-hmm. I think this is the week. Let's see what Tannehill can do without Derrick Henry in that backfield and all the attention on him. I would avoid him against the Rams. One other quick one, too. Another weird story that we kind of didn't touch on is the Calvin Ridley news due to mental health stepping away from football for a little bit.
Yes.
Completely sympathize with him in that scenario, but this again does affect fantasy-wise. Now all the pressure falls on a rookie tight end in Kyle Pitts on that offense. I don't know. I think he's talented enough, but you don't see tight ends really carry the bulk of the load in the rookie seasons. It's just never been a position that translates immediately. No, he had some great games early on, but I'd avoid Kyle Pitts this week as well.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want any more advice fantasy-wise or anything, we're going to get into a couple more things here. Email us at TheSmartGamble@gmail.com. I'd be loving to, give you guys, if you've got a couple players to decide between, I'd love to try and give you some advice on that. But All right, so we just talked about a lot of players, a lot of things a lot of bad stuff actually with, trades and injuries and stuff like that. We got an interesting segment coming up. Lily, give us who your player of the week is, or maybe your daddy of the week.
Yeah. Who's my daddy of the week?
Who's
Okay,
your
so-
daddy?
Everybody's talking about two of the Jets players, Mike White and Mike Carter. But most people are talking more about Mike White, but I want to talk about Mike Carter, the running back.
Mm-hmm.
He gained 172 yards and 15 rushing passes and 9 receptions, scoring a touchdown on his third in the last 4 games. They kind of like just rolled over one of the first.
QBs always get all the love.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first NFC ranked teams.
Yep.
The
No,
Bengals.
it was a completely. No one saw that coming. I don't think Mike White, Mike Carter, any of those guys saw that coming. The coach Salah, I don't think Rob Salah even saw that coming. I'm starting Michael Carter tonight against the Colts. I'm right there with you, Lily.
Yep.
So now, do you have maybe on the other side a different kind of player?
Meaning, shit ass player of the week? Yes. You know what? And I love him to death, Patrick Mahomes. But I mean, he's got the highest amount of interceptions in the NFL. That's 10. He had 2 last week. And it's like, what happened? What happened? Everybody was expecting so much this year. And he's just not giving it. And it's really shocking.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel?
Well, and watching that game the other night, he looks. There were times when if he were settling for the short passes, 7 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards here, he was very good in those passes. But he got greedy and he tried throwing the ball deep into like double coverage with 3 or 4 guys are surrounding the receiver. I think there's something wrong with his decision making for some reason, and that was not the case in previous years.
Right.
And I think the other thing too is that he probably has less time to throw. What I call the big eaters in front of him are not doing their job very well protecting him. So he's got to throw the ball quicker than normal, and I think he's forcing some really bad throws and bad decisions. So again, that might sound like a really easy diagnosis, but it certainly has not proven to be an easy way of getting out of what he's going through.
Yeah, you mentioned it last week, CJ, when I was bringing up Mahomes. Is a lot of people bring up the defense. He's trying to do much to compensate for the defense, but you brought up the offensive line last week and again this week, and I completely agree with you because as a Giants fan, when we get pressure on the quarterback, something's wrong. That's just the days of like Michael Strahan and Osi Umenyiora and Justin Tuck have the Giants been able to get pressure on the quarterback. And they were getting pressure on Mahomes. There's more than just one thing going wrong with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and definitely been a little bit of shit ass this year.
And what about some more shit ass? Arizona losing that game last week. That was all the coach's fault. That's how I felt. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think there was some bad decision making on the coaching staff toward the end of that game. And Arizona, despite the fact that Green Bay kind of really dominated the game as far as time possession and so forth, they were 5 yards away from winning that game.
Yeah.
A bad pass or somebody forgot to turn around and look for the pass.
AJ.
Right.
But they really had that game.
Not mentioning any names, right, Norm?
Yeah.
No name dropping here. Yeah, see, I would agree. I wouldn't blame the players. I think I blame the coaching staff for that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quickly, because I know, Lily, you just mentioned Mike White getting all the attention for the Jets here on Thursday Night Football, already on the sidelines having his hand looked at by the doctors.
Oh.
So,
Oh my
the Jets just can't have nice things.
No, just never.
God.
But it is here as we're recording the end of the first quarter, and it is tied 7-7 between the Jets and the Colts. Well, we know Hayden loves to make a pick. Do we have a
Absolutely.
pick from Hayden?
We have a pick. Okay.
I believe
Hayden's
Hayden was
pick-
correct last
Hayden's
week as
pick-
well.
He was. He picked New England and they won outright too.
Yes, they
Mm.
did.
So Hayden is picking the Jets to cover tonight.
Smart cat.
I like it. I like it. They're already off to a good start. What's the number on that game? I believe I think
it's like 10 and a half.
Yeah, it's 10 and a half.
half.
Yeah.
Woo!
That look too enticing to me to pass up. I took the Jets as well tonight.
Right.
Yep. I took the
Me
Jets too. We all did.
So there you have it. Everybody throwing the cat. Everyone's taking the Jets. I think I don't have an official pick on that one, but I probably would have taken the 10 and a half with the Jets as well. I say that in hindsight, a quarter in, but there's Hayden. We're going to try and get some screen time for Hayden here in the near future as well.
There we go.
Make
Absolutely.
a feline appearance. Speaking of because everyone loves cats, everyone also loves movies. Lily, it's time for that movie quote of the week.
Okay, so let's go back to last week. That long verse that I gave, Mr. Vernon, right?
Right.
Vernon.
That was The Breakfast Club.
I knew that one.
One of my favorite movies.
Yes,
Great
me
movie.
too.
That's
And
a
Angie
classic.
too.
Yeah.
Angie loved that
That's
movie.
one of
And
my
she's only
favorite.
24.
Right.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite.
I'm early 30s. That movie came out before I was born, I think. And I still love it. That's one of those timeless classics.
Great flick.
Yes, it
Right.
is.
And I'm trying to give movie lines where people could guess it just from the line. You
Right.
know,
Little context clue.
Mhm.
right. My next one is bye-bye, boys. Have fun storming the castle.
Okay. Right away. I know that one as well.
So speaking of timeless classics, I kid you not, this is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot
I know
of
this one. If you know me, you probably know this one, even if you haven't seen it, because I've probably said that line a million times.
Me too. And my twin sister says it like exactly the way Carol Kane said it. Oh, I just gave a hint.
Mom,
Oh,
A little one, just a little one. It's okay.
small hint.
Okay.
Small hint.
If you think you do know that, including with the hint, you got a little extra knowledge gained from this one. At the TheSmartGamble@gmail.com. Send an
Yep.
email with the answer to that one. And we have a prize this week, Lily.
Yes, $25 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts.
There you have it. So at
All right.
TheSmartGamble@gmail.com for a chance to win that gift card. Have fun. Bye, boys. Have fun. So I can even recite it. I don't even need it in front of me. Have fun storming the castle. I'll even give you a little accent with it.
There you go.
All right, CJ, let's shift on over. I know we've got some important knowledge coming from your way. We got a little prediction. We're going to get a pick from you game-wise, but give me a player that you think is going to be one of the top performers of this week in week 9 in the NFL.
Well, I kind of disrespected the Patriots last week. I thought they were a little bit overvalued, so I had to take the hit on that one. I like Mac Jones this week against Carolina.
Right.
Mac Jones is not a prolific passer per se, but he doesn't make mistakes. He gets the ball to his receivers in good places. He doesn't make mistakes throwing the ball deep too much. The Patriots are a team on the come, and I think Mac Jones is right there in the middle of it. I think he will be a very, very good performer this week.
Yeah, he's been a guy that he's kind of doing what he did at Alabama. He's going to win you games, by keeping it in it and then making the play late. So I've kind of become a Mac Jones fan. That's why this season.
So McCaffrey's coming back this week for Carolina. So that would be maybe one of my stay away games of the week. And also Cleveland and Cincinnati. What do you think, CJ?
Cleveland, Cincinnati. Again, Cleveland is having probably more problems off the field than they are on the field. And whenever you deal with those emotional, mental issues that don't involve, blocking, pass catching, and so forth, that team is a little bit snake bitten, I believe. And Baker Mayfield and the whole drama with him and OBJ and so forth. I think you're right. I probably wouldn't go in that game either.
Any other games that you would stay away from that you could think of?
I think with the the Raiders Giants. I think that, well, obviously the Raiders going through what they're going through now, following
Right.
the coach being fired a few weeks ago.
Right.
And I normally don't like to go near teams who played them on Monday night because of the fatigue factor and travel factor and so forth.
Right.
So because there are so many different things there involved with both teams, I probably would not go with that matchup with the Raiders Giants.
There you have it. Couple stay away games for this. Those, the stay away games are almost sometimes more important than the locks of the week because you don't want to lose money either.
That's true.
You want to win money, but you don't want to lose it either. All right, so let's get into. Oh, excuse me, CJ. Before we get into the star of the show, let's be serious. We know the two of us ain't the star of the show. Lily's lock of the week is coming up, but you've got a pick of the week as well.
Yeah, I think, is it time for the Dolphins to really kind of figure out what Tua is going to be like for them in the rest of the year now that they didn't trade for Deshaun Jackson?
They better.
And yeah, and Houston doesn't seem like they want to win a game. They're giving away everybody in that team. Nobody's happy in that team. I think the Dolphins might be a situation where you can put some money on them, and I might go with them over Houston as the pick of the week.
There you have it.
Nice.
Dolphins over the Texans. Lock of the week from CJ. Well, now it is time for the star of the show. Getting lucky with Lily for her lock of the week.
Okay, so I am making a bold lock this week.
Let me write it down.
Those have
I
won
am-
so far.
I am picking Denver to cover over Dallas.
Ooh.
Now they're playing in Dallas, 9.5 points. Denver usually plays them tough. We'll see what happens this week. But what is my punishment, Norm, if I don't get it right?
Right. See, we've been blessed with such great picks so far early on in the season. She literally just takes dogs and they win outright.
Mm.
For her to finally get it wrong, I think we need to be rewarded, right? It's cold out. It's cold out, but it's still bikini season.
So where are you going with this, Norm?
You got it wrong, Lily. There's the next episode. There's a bikini on the screen.
Oh.
But you're not going to get it
Take that
wrong, so
bet.
we're just going to be sitting here.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
And if
go
you
ahead.
get
Go ahead.
next week, if you get your quarterback pick wrong, you got to wear a woman's wig. And CJ, your pick of the week too. You got to wear
A
a
woman's
woman's
wig. Okay, I can handle that piece.
Okay.
All
When
right.
you're referring to bikinis,
Mine's
I was a little bit nervous.
Mine's a little more out of your comfort zone than wearing a wig.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when you mentioned bikini, I was a little bit nervous on that one, but okay, I feel better about it now.
I think we got the easier side of this one.
Okay. Too funny.
And
So-
I'll throw it out for Lily as well. I know what you said, 9.5 points are the is the spread.
I believe
for
it's
this
9.5
one?
points. Yes.
Yes.
I think this might be a little bit of a stretch, but the way Lily's been picking, betting money line isn't the craziest thing. Maybe make it even a little bit more money.
Mm.
I don't want to throw too much pressure on Lily. We already just throw out a bikini bet, but 9.5 for the Broncos. We don't know about Dak Prescott's health still. So this. Also, the problem doing this recording this Thursday, less going in.
That's
Right.
true.
Right. A lot
We'll
less.
hopefully return to our normal schedule next week. But hey, if you have any feedback, if you like it earlier, if you like anything, if you don't like anything, if you want some advice, if you want more of Lily's picks as well, because she's giving out winners besides just the ones on this podcast, TheSmartGamble@gmail.com is where you can reach all three of us, all four of us. And you can ask her for picks too.
Yes.
definitely.
And we'll give you advice up until the time the website is up, which we're
Right.
hoping is within the next couple of weeks. It's going to be TheSmartGamble.com. So check us out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Just this is the spot to find out anything about it. Again, we're available on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast. The video version, if you're sitting here watching it right now, obviously is on YouTube. Hoping to release, around this time. We're going to be a little earlier this week, but definitely at least by Saturdays throughout the rest of the season, all the way up until the Super Bowl. And thanks for joining us, guys. Everyone else, final thoughts here on week 9 already of the NFL season.
I know, we're like halfway through.
Yeah. Football season always lasts way too short, but
Yes, I agree.
we'll see how it goes.
Of the sports, I was, you know what? I'm going to say this is going to be so sappy. I was like, what am I about to say? It's the star that it burns the shortest but the brightest of all
Mm.
sports.
A little philosophical on us now, huh?
All right, now that I'm waxing poetic, it is time to wrap up the show. For CJ, for Lily, I'm Norm. Again, TheSmartGamble@gmail.com is how to reach us. Like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and YouTube. It really helps us out. Give us any feedback. We appreciate it as well. And we will talk to you next week for week 10.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.